All right, here's a survey that says that Gen Z is the dumber generation in compared to the millennials and the others. Well, Gen Z could be the first generation in modern times. According to a US survey, Gen Z could be the first generation in modern times to actually score lower than the one that came before them on key thinking skills, which kind of culminates to say that Gen Z is the dumbest of them all. The findings were written testimony submitted by neuroscientist and educator Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath, a PhD MED, to the US Senate Committee on Commerce, Science and Transportation. The neuroscientist told the US Senate that young people born between the late 90s and early 2010s are falling behind millennials on standard tests in areas like attention span, in memory, reading, math, problem solving, and overall IQ. And to make matters worse, he says, most of these young people are overconfident about how smart they are. Well, the smarter people think that they are, the dumber they actually are, is what this finding says. The very generation expected to lead the next frontier of innovation, growing up alongside artificial intelligence and automation, is, according to some researchers, struggling with basic reading comprehension and fundamental numeracy skills. Well, critics argue that constant scrolling reduced deep reading and heavy. In fact, critics are saying and arguing that constant scrolling on their phones or laptops have reduced deep reading and heavy reliance on digital tools, maybe reshaping how young minds process information. Stem from the fact that they are the first generation to grow up with constant screen time. Digital devices called educational technology take up most of their brain matter during class time and homework. And it's no substitute for real learning, of course, but well, as much as in some areas they might be more equipped, but it seems like in key areas of comprehension, they seem to fail. So what is this growing up glued to screens doing to kids' brains and their education in the long run? Taking this on, the 10th of December, Australia becomes the first country to ban children under 16 from accessing major social media platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, X, and YouTube. And now in a broader international shift, other countries also like UK, Spain, Greece, and Slovenia also are exploring Australian-style curbs to restrict children's access to social media for under 16s. In India too, the Economic Survey of India of 2026 has recommended examining comparable regulations to curb screen time and enhance online safety. Along with this comes the push from UK that is racing towards a potential ban now and a tighter legal leash on AI chatbots. Well, the immediate trigger is a growing international backlash against Grok, the flagship chatbot developed by X. The system was found to be generating non-consensual sexualized images of women and children using simple text prompts, sparking outrage from child protection groups and lawmakers worldwide. So UK has the Online Safety Act, already regarded as one of the toughest digital regulatory regimes globally, but this does not cover one-to-one interactions between users and AI chatbots unless the content is shared publicly. The government says that it is this gap that will really now be closed in. Look, AI tools are already here. They're already being used for homework, support, language learning, coding practice, and creativity. So the challenge is how to manage risk without shutting down the opportunity. Regulation is essential, critics argue, but overtly restricting also becomes limiting for the generation growing up. So is regulation really the answer, or is digital education and smarter design the real solution? Well, let me quickly bring in our guest, Kanish Gaur, digital technology and AI expert, Dr. Sudhir Kumar. In fact, let me start with also Rishi Juneja, who's a child psychologist and director of Mind Ease Clinic. Thanks very much, both of you. I'll start with Rishi Juneja on this, on the Gen Z being the dumber generation compared to the others because of a lot of screen time that they're consuming. How accurate does this sound to you?
Hi, thanks for calling me on the platform. Just a little correction, it's Rashi Juneja.
I beg your pardon, Rashi.
Psychologist.
Yes.
Perfectly okay, human error. Okay, so quickly
Probably millennials are the dumber. We don't know as yet.
Yeah, so we are not AI.
Yeah.
So coming to the point, to the research per se. See, there are few things that we have to take into consideration. First of all, the research has been done in US, right? So are we in a right state to generalize the results to Indian population as well? Because the data is homogeneous in nature. It's not heterogeneous. The sample has not been collected from the worldwide population. First, the first major concern, and the tests that we are using are not very up to date. There's still a lot of advancements that are required in order to assess multiple cognitive functions, I would say, as a clinician. The next important point that I want to highlight, yes, the attention span has declined or has decreased drastically with respect to Gen Z, because I've taught in university as well, so that's how I can comment upon it, dealing with students. Um, so what exactly happened is, you look up to a reel or a video for 30 seconds or 1 minute, and even using AI, you give prompts. So giving one word prompt is very different from explaining yourself or what you need or your thoughts and your creativity in totality in multiple sentences. So you are lacking on words, you are lacking on attention, you are lacking in expressing yourself and your creativity. So and obviously, if your attention is less, whatever we're gonna conceive, we're gonna memorize would be reduced in its size and capacity, and that would eventually lead to lesser neural circuits in our brain. So everything we learn is like a circuit that develops in our brain. So if we learn less, we have less attention span, there would be less neural circuits, and eventually the IQ would come less on the scales.
I'm probably, well, you said it's not comparable to India because it's a homogeneous population that they've done the survey, but I don't know. I beg to differ on that, because you have now mobile phones being used across the globe, same access to social platforms. In fact, you have now, that way there are no more borders. Thanks to social media platforms, there are no more borders. You have people interacting across the globe so seamlessly that you can no more say India, US, UK, all kids, all Gen Z are alike, right? But my question is, are we being a little too harsh here? Do you think Gen Z is able to process information much better than the others? Because one needs to be adapting to the fast-paced digital world. They're probably far ahead than us.
I won't say that they are fast or they are slow right now, right? Because there are a lot of factors that play a role, and especially the individual differences. That's why some people are intelligent and some score a little low on the IQ test. But yes, exposure is definitely better than what we used to have. But at the same time, the dependency on AI has increased, which has reduced the expression of other skills that are there. So that is could be one of the
Tell
strongest
me, what
reasons
kind
to
of
cause
cognitive
lower IQ.
abilities are impaired? How does it impair cognitive abilities? Screen time,
Pardon the
excess.
question.
How does excess
Pardon the
screen
question.
time? How does excess screen time impair cognitive abilities?
So what exactly happened is, when we are too much into screen, definitely there's a habit of mostly our screen time goes on to social medias. So there's a habit of scrolling reels or jumping from one tab to another. So the capacity in which we read, we have our focus, we have our attention reduces. So we are in a rush to get that stimulation. So we switch from one tab to another, or from one reel if we are not liking, even for like 20 seconds, we switch on to another reel. Similarly, so if such an individual would sit and read, let's say, start reading a book, probably 10 lines, 12 lines, and then there'll be a boredom, or there is a distraction, or eventually my attention would go onto my screen again. So that flow, that focus would reduce, and it would, not allow me to complete the task in hand.
Okay, so you're saying one is attention deficit, because you want something new constantly, quick gratification, want something to please you instantly, and boredom also so quickly, because there's so much that there is to offer on these platforms that you get bored so fast and want to move on. And could that translate to real life, that behavior?
You have to be more specific with the question.
No, I mean, I can be as specific. This is as specific as I can get. Could this behavior that they're indulging in on social platforms, like constantly moving from one reel to the other, could that translate into real life with your family members? How did their relationships turn out to be because of this obsession and the mood that they have on social platforms versus the actual real-time conversations that they have with the people they're in
Yes.
relationships with?
Yes, it does have an impact because see, you have used one more word here, obsession. So I'm not going that much into that term, but more than obsession, I would call it addiction. So if there is an addiction, I would want to give my screen more time as compared to my real life. Also, if I'm more involved in screen, I'm giving more attention there. I want to keep myself updated with respect to my social media per se. That would eventually take that time out of my real life. So giving more attention to my relationships, to my romantic relationships, to other relationships, to friendships. So my energy and my expression there would reduce significantly, and it would eventually lead to there have been a lot of researches that says that screen increased screen time leads to issues like low mood, loneliness, because I can talk to screen but screen can't talk back to me. So there is no emotional connect that is taking place, and we
I'm
humans
sure
do
they're
need
also
emotional connect.
overwhelmed with this kind of information. I don't even know if humans are geared to handle this kind of onslaught, information onslaught. Kanishk, if you want to come in on this, the Gen Z generation declared to be dumber than the rest, according to a US neuroscientist. What's your view on that? Have you dealt with Gen Z?
Nabila, I don't need a US scientist report. I'm dealing it day in, day out. I face so much of issues with Gen Zs, I can't tell you.
Huh.
Everyone just hooked on to a AI tool. The ability to write, to analyze has stopped. Everyone believes that they can just let a AI tool do whatever they were doing. So the ability to analyze data, the ability to produce outcomes has gone. I face a massive challenge with the ability to tell people to derive outcomes, have logic, have rationality, even to do simple calculation. I can tell you that today the impact is such that when you hire people from the Gen Z category, the time it goes in telling them and training them on how they need to be doing things is enormously high. So there is loss of productivity, I can tell you. I am facing a massive challenge with a lot of Gen Zs. Personally, I can tell you because everyone's forgotten how to write simple English. Everyone's just using AI to write. The second key part is that everyone's looking for a shortcut and not looking at precision, not looking at decision making, not looking at analyzing things in depth. So the ability to perform research has drastically gone down. The key part
Outsourcing
is
our thinking entirely, and that's what's happening. But do you blame the AI companies for dumbing down the population at large?
I don't think so. It's the AI companies, it's the people. They stopped applying their minds. The
No, I
Gen
mean
Zs have stopped applying their.
it's like
It's I
sugar,
guys.
right?
It's
Once you get on to sugar, it's very hard to get off. And when you know there's something better and taste, why would you not
so
opt for it? And
we
something that won't kill you instantly, then you'd go with it.
Absolutely. So even people are using it for lying. So we had a employee who faked his health and asked for medical leave. When we asked him to produce a medical certificate, he generated a AI used medical certificate which had banned COVID drugs mentioned on it. So he forgot even to apply his mind
My God.
what medical certificate he needs to produce to do this. And then when we ask people for writing on things about their hobbies or their passions, it's basically AI. And when we start using AI plagiarism tools, we find that 95% of the content which come to us is written by uh, chatbots
Yeah.
and not by humans. And the justification that comes is that we have been training AI to become better version of us. So I have to tell them that if I have to help, I no more need you.
Amazing. All right. All I can say, as I'm short on time here, is that this reasoning that they're giving to explain why they're giving you AI-generated answers is so that they can make AI better. Wow, that's also a smart one, though. Well,
They say they have fed everything about themselves to AI, so AI would be able to do a better job in terms of giving outcomes. So
why do you need?
I go back to them and tell
Whatever
them
happens to the
that why don't.
workforce then in the future, if they are going to give up to AI so easy, then that's it. Then their job only is at risk. Well,
And
thanks very
one more
much.
thing,
Yeah.
when I go to business schools, I'm a visiting faculty at 2 or 3 business schools. I have found that most of the knowledge today is through content generated reels, and there's no depth.
Yeah.
Forget classroom curriculum. The knowledge of the Gen Z is through generated reels, which is given by content
Yeah.
influencers. So the content influencers are actually doing the hard work of creating content, and Gen Zs are just scrolling. So there is less focus on what is being taught on the class and more
Correct.
focus on watching the reels and getting instant gratification. So there is the new knowledge is superficial. There's no depth. Again one of the reasons. So education, traditional education, is losing its paradigm. It's more of content generated reels. People believe they can do like a content
Yeah.
generated
Yeah.
MBA. That's again a big challenge.
All right. I'm hoping this changes around and you have AI helping them apply their mind more than taking away their thinking skills. So thanks very much, both of you, for joining us on that.